This is a reading for Abraham. The day today is January 29th. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Greetings, I'm Juliana. We are the Arcturians. So you have come to a consciousness in this lifetime that you are ready to integrate the multi-dimensional holographic energy field. This means that you are coming to an awareness that yourself is greater than the self that's just on the earth, that yourself has had lifetimes in other planets, off the galaxy, and within the galaxy, and within different parts of this galaxy. You've been in the Pleiades, you've been in Arcturus, you have also been in the Sirius. You have the home planet is Alano. Alano is a Arcturian moon planet that is closer to the central sun. It is the host or home planet of, we call it a moon planet, of our original ancestors, but now it is a very activated planet that is linking to the Arcturian project, linking to the group of 40, is linking to many of the starseeds. I think that we should start this discussion by explaining that you are a starseed. You know that the starseeds are the beings, the humans, who have been on other planets and are incarnating now on the Earth, but have had multiple incarnations on other systems besides the Earth. So I must make the distinction between the starseeds and those who are not starseeds, because it is the starseeds that are awakening. It is the starseeds that are going to make a major effort to bring this planet into balance and to heal the planet. The planet, as you already know, is in a great imbalance. You, Abraham, have been on other planets. You have seen other planets such as on Sirius. You have seen other planets in the Antares star system, especially. That's where you had been in the most immediate previous lifetime, Antares, the Antares star system, where there were planets that were similar to the Earth that were not able to resolve the planetary crisis and ended up destroying itself. Now, you learned a great deal in this experience, and you now are coming to this planet at this time to be what I call more proactive. You realize from that planetary experience that it is not enough to wait, that it is not enough to bring a awareness and to meditate, but it is also critical that there must be an action. There must be a task in which the starseeds awaken, in which the starseeds form a reaction, in which the starseeds develop a plan for the planetary healing. And this is why you came into the group of 40, because the group of 40 has the mission to formulate a response to the planetary crisis, a response that brings in a healing and a unification. So it is a good match that you have come into the group of 40 so that you can begin to formulate how is it that you, as a starseed, you as a planetary healer, and I want to emphasize this concept of you as a planetary healer, because a planetary healer is a person that has the awareness that there are interventions that can be made on a planetary basis, and that you know from your own personal experience that you have the ability to awaken other star seeds. So the planetary mission really has as its focus the awakening of other star seeds, star light workers, so that they can perform their mission, so that they can perform their tasks. I think it is clear that when you come to the earth, there is a deadening of the memory. There is a deadening of the mission, so that you do not remember your past lives, you do not remember why you came here, and you have to go through an awakening process. I mean, this is the nature of the third dimension. Some of the star seeds have underestimated the power of this third dimensional veil. And perhaps you too have gone through, and maybe you too have realized that the veil between the higher dimension and the third dimension is a lot stronger than what you had anticipated. The veil, therefore, has a density about it, but you are now right at the point where you are overcoming the veil. You are right at the point where you're able to see through the veil. You're right at the point where you're able to work with the veil. Now, this is also one of your planetary missions, because your planetary mission has to do with being a teacher. How else can you awaken starseeds? But you have to teach them. And part of what you have to teach them is related to this concept of the veil. And I am here today so that you can have a better concept of how to work with the veil, how to teach about the veil, and how to use the veil to accelerate your own ascension. You are close to the ascension. And the reason why I could say you're close to the ascension is because, number one, you are here to finish life lessons. And number two, this whole concept of the veil is so important to preparing the mental body. You know that in the ascension there's the mental body, there's the physical body, there's the emotional body, and there's the spiritual body. And in the ascension, all four bodies must ascend. The mental body, and all four of them are equally important. I know that some people are only paying attention to one of the bodies, but the mental body is needed so that you can begin to understand what is the nature of reality. What is the nature of this veil? Why is there a separation between the fifth and third dimension? Why can I not directly see everything in its dimensional presence? So the veil has a several functions. Part of the veil is for protection. As a primitive planet, and the Earth is basically still a primitive planet, man is still very close to his primordial instincts. There is a protective energy, and this protective energy relates to man's earlier times when he was out into the wilderness and out into the nature. If the veil were removed, man would be overwhelmed and could not protect himself. And there would be too much stimulation and too much overwhelmingness. Now, in the earlier times, man used his shamanistic energies, such as in working in fires, working in fire dancing, working in the medicine wheel. And this is something I'm telling you because the Manitou Springs is an ancient site of sacredness. It was used for sacred energy and healing. And there is great, powerful guides and teachers from the shamanistic native traditions who are protecting and also who are spiritually linked to you and spiritually linked to many of the other native peoples. As I have said, the native peoples need the help of the Arcturians because they too, the native peoples, are in a period of disarray. They too are in a period of confusion. They have lost contact with their galactic teachers. They have lost contact with the galactic wisdom. And you do have shamanistic powers. You do have the powers to channel. You have the powers to be a teacher, and you have the powers to bring people together in circles. So I see you working to activate Manitou Springs as a city of light, as a planetary city of light, that there are people that want to work with you in keeping the energy field there sacred. Eventually you'll probably move there. You ask about your occupation, etc. I do not see the solar farm being very fruitful. I think that the idea of organic farming or doing some kind of farming is also good for you, and I know that you will be working. I don't see you as making a lot of money from that, but I think that it will help you to stay into spiritual alignment. You probably are going to have to find some type of a job that's of a minimal sacrifice of your time, and I'm seeing you perhaps working maybe in a bookstore, as a clerk, or maybe working in a grocery store, some kind of a simple job that will not tax your energy. I just do not see you as making a living from these other businesses at this time. And the reason is because the businesses, all of these businesses would require a substantial investment of money and time, and would take maybe 3 to 5 years to become successful and viable. And rather, it would be better for you to invest the time in doing what you love, in living in the garden, in gardening, in organizing this. But I see you as teaching the young star seeds to awaken, teaching them to go past the veil and to understand what the true nature of reality is. And I think that you are going to be accelerating your own holographic process, where you're going to be more comfortable opening up your consciousness to the higher realms, opening up your consciousness to a holographic nature, and to open up your consciousness so that you could connect with guides and teachers, and so that you can bring down light, and you could bring down teachings, and you could bring down methods. One of the methods I'm talking about is the shamanistic way of the medicine circle, the shamanistic way of using the circle energy to open up consciousness, to open up the past lives, to open up the veil. And I keep on referring back to the veil because I know that this is something that you are very good at doing yourself now. You've brought yourself to a very good place, and you will find that others want to hear your teachings. So you could look at yourself also as an ambassador of light, ambassador to those people who you have contact with. Remember, we also like to refer to this concept called the sphere of influence. The sphere of influence is an Arcturian concept that states that each person on this planet has a particular sphere of influence. And in that sphere of influence, they are able to affect, to teach, to heal those people who are close to them, or they have access to. Your sphere of influence is different than other people's sphere of influence. So you do not measure your work or the success of your work by comparing it to someone else, but rather you evaluate the success of your mission and work based on how you are able to activate and work within your sphere of influence. And so you know better than I who your sphere of influence is, who these people are that you can talk to, who these people are that will listen to you, who these people are that will be open to your teachings. Even if you have 10 people in your sphere of influence, this is important. But your sphere of influence is going to grow. And eventually you will be able to work on expanding the methods that you can use to teach other starseeds. You know that there needs to be a much larger awakening on this planet. And you know this on several levels. You know this on the level from your experiences on Antares. You know this from what is now happening on this planet and how dangerous the situation is on this planet. And you are ready, in a sense, to work. You need guidance, you need direction, but you are ready to move forward in the highest light. So I will stop here for any comments or questions or anything else you need that would be further elaboration on what I have said. So feel free to ask for clarification or any other information on what I've said, or even on new subjects. Well, the toning is very useful on many levels. The toning is for shifting the level of consciousness. So you could start with a oh, ee, oh. And then there are certain configurations of energy lines that look like a vortex. And as you hear the tones, then the vortex, it becomes deeper and deeper and darker, or maybe emphasized more, leading to a corridor to a light. Now, the idea is that the ways of going through the veil is to use corridors. And you can say that the corridors are safe connections to the fifth dimension. I use the word corridors because there is the fourth dimension that exists between the third and the fifth. The fourth dimension is containing a great many of lower vibrational spirits. This is a huge problem now on this earth, because many people have holes in their energy field. There are holes in many parts of the planet for a variety of reasons. And the lower, darker spirits, some people call them ghosts, want to cohabitate and cause havoc. Going through a corridor enables you to bypass the fourth dimension and go directly into the fifth dimension. So the toning and the lines of graphics of the vortex can be used and explained in the level of going through a corridor. And as you go through the corridor, the tones accelerate you. Eventually, the tones are used like an hypnotic anchoring. Hypnotic anchoring means that when you hear the sounds or these tones, you are opened and you are immediately moved into this other level of consciousness. Now, the Indians would do this, the Native Americans would do this through drumming. They would also do this through song and dance. And they would achieve this level of consciousness. So, but we use the toning, and there are different levels of toning based on what the level of your voice range is, and how much you could tolerate higher or more piercing tones. Because higher and more piercing tones will bring you into other levels of consciousness quite quickly. Now remember, the toning can be very dramatic, and you have to prepare for it. But this is good, and I think you're ready to learn toning, and you're ready to move into places that are going through the corridors into the fifth dimension. Oh. Do you have other questions? Well, the galactic language is not useful for speaking. The galactic language is useful as a tonal quality to shift consciousness. So, what you would find useful in the galactic language is the sounds or the tones of the language that would be serving as helping you go through corridors. So I would encourage you to listen to the galactic language, but it's not necessary that you learn the galactic language. So you are ready to go through the veils. You are ready to bring in a higher teaching and higher consciousness to many other starseeds. And you are ready to bring people together. It is time that you come into your role as a teacher. Are you prepared to do that? And I know that you have much information to gather and learn from the group of 40 that will help you to be in this role as a teacher and as and someone who awakens others to their starseed nature. I know that there is a mental aspect of all of this. Mental aspect means that there is a world of ideas in which you can bring yourself into a more coherent system. And I think that would be good for you. I think that a more coherent system would include a discussion with people about what levels of dimensions there are, why there is a veil, what's going on in this planet now, how the planet is in a crisis, how you can break through the veil, how we're coming into a new paradigm. All these things can be part of the teaching that you are ready to teach. So I would also recommend that you try to organize yourself and organize your thoughts in some coherent pattern. If you want to use one of David's books as a teaching, I would recommend the first book, Connecting with the Arcturians. There's a lot of organization in that book that would help you as a teacher, and you would find that the people are ready to hear the teaching. And as you hear the teaching, you will become more adept, and you will remember your own teachings from a previous time. So this is not a time to hide yourself. This is a time to come forward and let your true nature come through. Remember, one of the lessons and one of the missions is that you have to let people know who you are, and you have to begin to be who you are and to follow your path. Do not be afraid to embrace your role as a teacher of young starseeds. Are there other questions? Well, you've been on Earth for maybe 30 to 40 different lifetimes, but they've not all been consecutive. You would be on the Earth, and then you'd go back to another planet, and then you'd come here. You were a Native American in a previous lifetime. You were in Colorado in that lifetime. You were part of a ancient tradition of Native peoples that lived in Colorado. Some of them was as early as the 4th or 5th century. And then you had another lifetime where you were here in the 15th and 16th century. But then what you'd be doing is you'd go into other lifetimes and other planets. So you were not in consecutive lifetimes on the Earth like many people are. But you would go from one lifetime to another. Well, this is great because you were able to integrate a great deal of information. But the general lifetimes that are most important to you is the native lifetimes right around the Manitou Springs, because you had lived there before, and you probably already noticed that it feels very home-like to you. So you have been in those mountains, you have been around there before, and there's a lot of sacred energy there for you. You have also lived you had a lifetime in Costa Rica. You had several lifetimes in Mexico. And you were in the Aztec. You were there as an Aztec priest at that time. And you did travel. You did travel quite a bit at that time. I see that you were also what is known in modern times as the Anasazi, and that you lived in the Chaco Canyon area in New Mexico. And this was perhaps in the 12th and 13th century, where you had lifetimes there in that area. And the Anasazi were living there and were traveling back and forth through Colorado. So this is why you're so comfortable in living close to the land. And you were a good hunter and a good food gatherer in those lifetimes. Ooh. And it's time to call on the powers from that lifetime to come to you now. It is time to do the soul retrieval and bring back the energy and power from those lifetimes into this lifetime. Remember, we began the discussion talking about the holographic nature. And holographic nature means you are bringing back all parts of yourself into this lifetime. And this will help you to be a more powerful healer, more powerful teacher, and a more powerful shaman. I am Giuliano. Good day.